All right, lesson 10.7 is all about operations and scientific notation. And by operations, I mean adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing two numbers that are written in scientific notation. So let's start with addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction have the same set of rules. So to add or subtract the numbers written in scientific notation with the same power of 10, all you have to do is add or subtract the factors. So what that means by the same power of 10 is that they have the same exponent. When the numbers of 10 have different, when the numbers have different powers of 10, so this is a different exponent, you first have to rewrite the numbers so that they have the same power of 10. And we will talk about what that looks like here in a second. But those are our rules for addition and subtraction. So look at example A. The first thing I look at are my exponents the same or are they different? And in this case, they are the same. They are both to the power of 3. So all you have to do is look at the factors and either add or subtract them together. In this case, it's an addition problem, so I'm going to add my factors. So this is 4.6 plus 8.72, and 4.6 plus 8.72 is 13.32 times your same power that you were given, which is 10 to the third. Now we learned in section 10.5 that in order for a number to be written in scientific notation, this first number has to be between 1 and 10. Now currently it is greater than 10. So when this number is greater than 10, this is not written in scientific notation, and we need to do a little work to change it. So here's my trick. We need to make this number smaller. Okay, 13 is too big. So you are going to make this one swoop smaller to make this 1.332. So we went from 13.32 to 1.332. Now, if I made the number 1 smaller, I have to make up for that by making the exponent 1 bigger. It's always going to be the opposite. So this is 1.332 times 10 to the 4th would be your final answer. And that's your final answer because this number is between 1 and 10, and this exponent is a is an integer. All right, look at B. So the first thing that I notice is that -2 and -3 are not the same. So I need to change one of them so that they are both the same. Now, it doesn't matter which one you change. I usually change the first one because it's the first one I'm looking at. So if I need to make this -3, I need to make -2 1 smaller. So if you think about that for a second, 1 smaller than -2 is times 10 to the -3rd, which is what I want to be able to have it match. Now, we just learned that if we have to make the number smaller, you have to make the exponent bigger in example A. So if I'm making the exponent smaller, the number needs to become 1 swoop bigger. So I'm going to swoop to the right, and this becomes 35 times 10 to the 3rd plus 6.6 times 10 to the -3rd. Okay, now that I have my exponents that are the exact same power, I can go ahead and add the first numbers. So 35.6 is 41.6 times 10 to the -3rd. Now, once again, we have this problem that 41 is bigger than 10. So I need to make this 1 swoop smaller. So this is 4.16. And then I need to make the exponent 1 bigger. And 1 bigger of -3 is -2. So my final answer is 4.16 times 10 to the -2nd. Now you're going to do these on your own. I'm going to help you right here. These are the same. So all you have to do is subtract those two numbers. These are not the same. And this is kind of challenging to get these to be the same. So 1 is 2 and 1 is -1. Let's get them both to be +2. Now, if we think about a number line, here's my number line. Here's 0. 2 is over here. There's 1, and there's -1. So 2 and -1 are 1. Look at me go. I did it again. 2 and -1 are 1, 2, 3 swoops away from each other. Okay? So to make this exponent be 2, we need to swoop this 3 bigger. And we need to swoop this 3 smaller. So 1, 2, 3. So your actual problem is 8.2 times 10 to the second plus 0.00341 times 10 to the second. That was a very challenging swoop problem. So hopefully that helps you out on your own examples. Now we're going to move on to our other operation, which is multiplication and division. So to multiply or divide numbers written in scientific notation, you are going to multiply or divide the factors and powers of 10 separately. So I find this one a little bit easier than adding and subtraction just because we can multiply. So let's start with the first terms. So 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. The second thing I have is 10 to the negative 5th times 10 to the negative 2nd. Now let's back up and think about what we did in the first part of this chapter. 10 to the negative 5th times 10 to the negative 2nd. When you multiply powers that have the same base, you add these exponents. So this is 10 to the negative 7th. So this would be 15 times 10 to the negative 7th. This is not right. Here we go. Now we have the same problem we keep having. 15 is bigger than 10, so we need to make this one swoop smaller. And if we make the number one swoop smaller, we need to make the exponent one bigger. And one bigger of negative 7 is negative 6. So this is 1.5 times 10 to the negative 6th is your final answer on multiplication. Same thing with division. We use our exponent properties. So the first thing you do is divide these first two whole numbers just like you would with any other whole number. So 1.5 divided by 6 is 0.25. And now over here, I have 10.8, not 10.8, I'm struggling. 10 to the negative 8th divided by 10 to the positive 7th. Okay, so if we pull this off to the side and think about our exponent properties, we have 10 to the negative 8th over 10 to the positive 7th. When you have division, you subtract these two exponents. So negative 8 minus 7 is negative 15. So this is 0.25 times 10 to the negative 15. Once again, this number is smaller than 1. So we need to make it bigger than 1, which we made it 1 swoop bigger to the right. And if we made the number 1 bigger, we need to make the exponent 1 smaller. And 1 smaller than negative 15 is negative 16. So your final answer is 2.5 times 10 to the negative 16th. So you have 4 on your own problems to try. Number 3 is kind of tricky. It's just 6 and 8. Multiply those together and then put it times 10 to the negative 5th. Same thing with here. Just divide these and put it times 10 to the 12th. Give these a shot and we will go over them in class tomorrow.